Okay, number 11 says x plus 3 quantity squared. So again, this means squared means take it times it by itself. So this means x plus 3 times x plus 3. So it's very similar to the last problem. I'm just going to use the Punnett square on this one. If you want to use FOIL, feel free to. So again, I got two terms in each. So the first parentheses x and 3, second parentheses x and 3. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. Then again, I'm going to be able to add the diagonal here. So I'm going to have x squared plus 6x plus 9. Number 12 says factor completely 12x to the fourth y to the third plus 3xy. In order to do that, I need to find the greatest common factor. So I've got 12x to the fourth, y to the third, and I've got 3xy. So if I list the numbers that go into 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, x to the fourth is like 4 x's multiplied by it themselves. Y to the third is like 3 y's. The only numbers that go into 3 are 1 and 3. I have 1x and 1y. So the greatest common factor is the greatest things they have in common. So the greatest number they have in common is 3. So I got 3. The greatest number of x's they have in common is just 1. So x. And the greatest number of y's they have in common is just 1y. Now we put our parentheses. So we think about, okay, what's left? Well, I need to get to 12. So 3 times what gives me 12? And we know that's 4. How many x's do I have left? Well, I have 1, 2, 3. So that's x to the third. How many y's do I have left? 1, 2. So that's y squared. The plus sign's in the middle. And now 3 times what gives me 3? Well, that's just 1. And I don't have any x's left, and I don't have any y's, so I don't have to put anything after the 1. Factor x squared plus 8x plus 12. So it's a factor, a trinomial. So we're going to make and solve the diamond, a times c on top and b on the bottom. And then we're going to put it in factored form, which looks like 2 parentheses with whatever signs are in the middle that's needed. So if I make the a is the number in front of x squared, which is 1, b is the number in front of x, and c is the constant, or the term that doesn't have a variable. So on top of my diamond is a times c, so 1 times 12, which is 12, and then b goes on the bottom. Again, I'm trying to find two numbers that multiply to get the top and add to get the bottom. So that would be 2 times 6, because 2 times 6 is 12, 2 plus 6 is 8. Now when we write our answer, we know it's got to be x squared, so we got to have an x and an x. Then we find our side numbers, which are 2 and 6. Since they're positive, we put plus 2 and plus 6. (14) says factor to solve the trinomial. So we're going to factor similar like we did above. So again, a is the number in front of x squared, which is 1. B is the number in front of x, and c is the constant. So on top of my diamond, a times c, so 1 times 6, which is 6. B on bottom. So we got to find two numbers that multiply to get 6 and add to get 5, and that would be 2 and 3. So that means I could write this as x and x again, and then our side numbers, so plus 2, plus 3, but this time we're solving and it's equal to 0. So if you think about and treat this as, okay, I'm taking this term times this term and it equals 0. So that means if I know what would make this parenthesis 0 or what would make this parenthesis 0 would be my answer. So you take what's inside the first parentheses, which is x plus 2, set it equal to 0, and take what's in the second parentheses, x plus 3, and set it equal to 0. Now you're going to come to find out these are pretty simple equations to solve, or a lot of the time you're just going to figure out that it's going to be, as long as there's not a number in front of x, it's just going to be the opposite. So x would equal -2 and x would equal -3.